Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Okay, so before we get into the nitty-gritty of this game against Howland, when we had you on before the season to kind of preview this season for you guys, you brought up last year's matchups with Howland and how you really competed with them for a while. And did you take any of that and really use it for this matchup with them?
Not really. I mean, you almost didn't have to. Everybody knows about Howland. If you're paying any attention to local high school soccer, everybody knows their success, their story, their accomplishments. They're an excellent program year in and year out. I mean, I can't remember the last time Howland had a bad team. I don't know if they ever have. Maybe if you go way back to when they first started. But for the most part, everybody's aware of their success. I'm sure that any team that plays Howland, any local team that plays Howland, that's going to be a game that the kids are excited about, that they want to play, that they're looking forward to that opportunity. If you have a competitive team, if you have kids that are competitive by nature, that's the type of game they look forward to. There's been some games that turned out to have a very ugly result for us. Towards the end of last year, they were firing on all cylinders, as everybody knows. And, we try to put those games out of our mind and focus on the times that we've challenged them, played with them for a half, been competitive to the extent that we can be. And we went, the captains and I went out to watch, we got a chance to watch Howland. At this point in time, I can't remember what game we went to, who we watched them against, but we got a chance to look at them. We knew that they weren't quite the same team. Coach Stiles said that in his post-game comments as well. It's not the same team as last year, so we don't want to make it sound like we did anything too ridiculous, but we know, the kids know who they are. They know what Howland is. They know what Howland has accomplished in soccer. And it's a game they look forward to. I don't think we have to tell them a whole lot about it. They know that already. And if they don't, if you're a freshman or if you're new or if you've never seen Howland play, it doesn't take long to figure it out. You watch them for about 5 minutes and you realize this is a solid team, solid program. And it's a type of challenge you want to play in high school sports.
My question for you, Coach, what was kind of like the team chemistry, the climate kind of like prior to the game? Otherwise, like feeling it out, what was kind of that feeling amongst the team prior to this game? Because it seems like you kind of let the boys take the bull by the horns with this one and kind of just go out there and get it themselves.
Well, we did. It was kind of funny. It was one of those rare moments where we were coming off of our first loss of the season. So you're trying to figure out how they're going to respond. And we talked about Howland for a couple of days. We shared with them our game plan. We talked about things and looked at what we wanted to focus on, looked at who we needed to keep an eye out for, looked at what positions we felt we could attack them with more so than they would be able to respond to. And we kind of looked at what do we think their weaknesses are. And, Howland doesn't have many, but we thought we found one or two things that we could try to do as a team and try to focus on that and remind them, here's the game plan, here's what we want to do. And they understood it. And it was one of those times where they got it, they executed it, and they stayed with it. And, there were some moments in the game where things got a little close again and we had to regroup and reset. And we're thinking to ourselves, okay, we can't let this slip away. This is a real opportunity here. And they were able to find a way to go, when Howland cut our 2-goal lead back to 1, our guys found a way to build it right back up to 2 soon after that. And it was nice to see them respond to that kind of a challenge. Because, there's some teams that even if they do get lucky, even if they do, get that lead on Howland, it's hard to hold it, because they're coming, they're not going to give up, they're not going to quit on it. And but yeah, the kids were kind of self-motivated for this game. We did get on them a little bit at the end of practice. So we played them Tuesday night. I thought Monday's practice was deteriorating a little bit. That they were kind of just kind of being a little silly, having a little bit of relaxed time. They weren't focused for the whole 90 minutes, and we kind of called it 5 minutes early just to kind of prove that point. We stopped they said, "Oh, let's go one more time." I said, "No, you've done enough. If you're going to play like this, don't get on the bus tomorrow." And they kind of realized that we're not focused right now. We need to be serious. And they responded. In the back of their mind, in the back of my mind, I knew it was there. I knew that they know the game. They know the level of play that they needed. You just have to keep reminding them of that sometimes. It's really just keeping them focused, keeping their eyes on the goal. And, not let them get, they want to have some fun. You want to let them have some fun, but let's not get too distracted by things.
Like you said, you guys were coming off your first loss of the season before this game. A lot of people would not want to play Howland coming off their first loss. But you guys, great teams learn from losses. No one wants to lose, but you learn from losses. How much do you think that loss helped you kind of realize some things going into this game? And do you think maybe it would have been the same result if you came in undefeated, a little bit maybe higher on yourselves than you were after the first loss of the year?
Well, there's a lot in that question. I mean, to start with, whether it's a lot of people don't want to play Howland at any point in the game, whether it's coming off a loss, a win, whatever. I think in some ways it did allow the boys to regroup a bit. I don't think we played poorly in the loss. We picked up our first loss. I think it was a combination of a couple of things. We were down a player that night. It's one of those things where you almost feel like you're due. For one, you're have an off night. We didn't play badly, but I think the guys realized they didn't play their best. I think that Canfield was pretty fired up for that game. They had some things going on their side of the ball that really motivated their guys for that particular evening. And I was worried about that. I tried to caution the players about that. And, sometimes they don't want to listen to the players themselves sometimes don't realize how much of a psychological aspect there is to this or any sport, really. And, maybe we learned that lesson with the loss to Canfield. But as far as going into Howland afterwards, I got to tell you, we've gone into Howland many times now. I mean, we're playing them twice a year now since we've both been in the All-American Conference. And, there have been some times we've gone in there feeling confident, feeling good, feeling like there was a chance. I think we felt more comfortable or more positive or more opportunistic this time around than ever before. I just think we had that feeling. That's why I like to try to take a couple of the players with me when we watch an opponent, so that they don't just think I'm saying something to them or I'm telling them what I want them to hear. The captains watched the game with me and they said, we think we could do this. We think we could do that. We think this is where they might be weak. And I think it means more when the players are telling their teammates, "Hey, here's what we saw," rather than "Here's what coach saw" or "Here's what I saw." I think it gave them that confidence. It gave them that ability to say, "Okay, if our leaders, if the guys we voted for to be our captains think we can win this game, then we believe them." Those are the guys that they have the faith in. Those are the guys they chose to be their captains. And if they feel positive about it, I think that it permeates its way through the whole team.
We talk about the improvements that we saw from, the loss to this game, but talk to me. We look at last season and we saw where you guys were close at some points too, but something changed. What were the biggest improvements that you've seen on and off the soccer field with this team from last year compared to this year?
I think collectively we are, we do have a lot of seniors, and I think that helps. We have a large senior class this year. It's not the most experienced class. A lot of them were still playing JV, well into their junior season, just because there wasn't room on the roster for them yet at the varsity level. They might have been on the bench, they might have been subs, but they were getting a lot of their minutes at the JV level. So I think there's two things. There is that age, and there's the physicality and the mental aspect that comes with being a senior compared to maybe a younger team. Howland right now has got a younger team than usual. Some of our opponents may have been in that same situation as well. And then also there's that eagerness, there's that anxiety where, okay, I've been here for a couple of years now. It's finally my chance. I get to play varsity this year. And so there's that determination, there's that anxiousness, there's that eagerness to go out there and take advantage of that. And I think we just have a group that is, they're pretty close with each other. They're pretty close knit. I think they work well together. They're comfortable with each other. We don't have some of the I don't know how to phrase this. We don't have some of the off field issues that sometimes you have in past years. These guys aren't being distracted by things. They're not jealous of each other. One game somebody might play 60 minutes. The next game they might only play 15. It's just the circumstances of the game. And so far, everybody's been willing to accept that. Everybody's been willing to take that role. We haven't had anybody complaining. We haven't had anybody feel bad about that. And those are the kind of things that sometimes can deteriorate what happens with a team. Sometimes I've seen teams where things are going along nicely, and then suddenly somebody just starts to get upset about their minutes, their time, their role, and it starts to detract from what you're trying to do for the whole group. We haven't seen that this year, at least yet, and hopefully we won't. We've got a group that they stay focused together. They're committed. That's the biggest improvement. So much of the game is mental. So much of it is attitude. The physical ability. Is this group any more physically skilled or talented than last year's team? I don't know that they are. They might not be. In some positions, I know that they're not. But it's staying together and keeping that mentality and realizing that we're doing this as a group. It's a team focus, and those things matter. And sometimes teams buy into it. We had that a couple of years ago. We had a really good team with a really good record because they stuck together, because they went through some hard times together. This group is doing the same thing. They're not letting the little distractions turn into arguments or fights. And as long as they keep doing that, I really think that, they're, I felt like maybe I was putting my foot in my mouth when we talked in the summer before the season started. I'm thinking, boy, I hope I'm not bragging too much or setting the bar too high. But we felt like we had, and we should have had, high expectations for this year. And so far they've lived up to them. It's still a long way to go. We're only about halfway through the year. But, I think that if they continue to do what they've been doing, we have the potential to really have a very special year happening here.
Coach, before we let you go, I think the biggest question that you have to ask after the win as big as it is over Howland, how does a team come out of that? How does the team kind of keep that high level of play after getting such a big win over Howland? So, you've had a practice, I assume. Well, maybe not, because the weather was terrible.
No, the weather was bad last night.
So, but you've probably had a lot of conversations with the team after that win. What do you think? What are the things you're focusing on to keep that momentum and keep that drive after you beat Howland and get that big, the huge, probably the biggest win of the program over Howland?
Yeah, it's the biggest win we've had in a while. The last time I could think of a win like this would be we did something similar to Lakeview about 5 years ago. Lakeview was ranked they weren't ranked first in the state like Howland was, but they were ranked like fourth. They had like a 31 game unbeaten streak or so, and I didn't even know about it. I remember after the game when we came out of there with like a 4-3 win. And the guy from the Tribune kept asking me, how's this feel? How's this feel? And I was like, well, good. It was a good one. He's like, no, but how's it feel? I didn't know what he was talking about. And so he finally had to tell me, well, they had a 31 game unbeaten streak. And I said, I didn't know that. I kind of pay attention to Howland because they're in our league. They're a conference team. I didn't even know. I got to be honest with you. I didn't know where Lakeview was. I'd never even been there. I mean, I live in Boardman. I never have to leave Boardman. So I didn't even know where we were. We got on a bus. We went to Lakeview. They dropped us off. I have no idea where we were. So I didn't know how to answer that question, but it was kind of comparable to that. So you have to try to guard against having a letdown. And I think it helps that just by coincidence, we were supposed to play tonight, and our opponent called and said, yeah, we got too many injuries. We got to try to move the game if we can. So we ended up in a situation where we don't have to step right back on the field right now. So I think that helps. We're not going to play again until Tuesday. We've kind of been lucky this year. Every time something happens or we've been worried about something potentially happening, we've had these weird situations where, oh, okay, that game got moved, or, oh, this kid's going to be out, but this kid will be back. Like, we've been very fortunate. And I think that helps. Once it's good to have some luck once in a while. So the fact that we have a whole week to kind of put this game behind us, go ahead, celebrate, enjoy. Obviously, the kids are going to celebrate longer than the coaches do. I mean, I was over it the game was Tuesday night. By Wednesday morning, I was like, yeah, well, we worried about the next game now. But it's easy to get caught in that trap if you're a player. It's easy to still be thinking about that last win and not focused on the next opponent. So the fact that got pushed off for a whole week, and we can let them enjoy this moment, let them have that celebration, and then, okay, we've got plenty of time to regroup, refocus, and that's just been great. So we're hoping that gets us the moment and the time to settle down, refocus on what we need to do next. We've got another conference game for Warren Harding on Tuesday night. We have to go to Mollenkopf, and that's a place that's, you talk to anybody from Boardman, whether it's football games, soccer games, we've at times had some bad luck in Mollenkopf Stadium. So it's a good that it's going to be an important game. It's a conference game. It'll be something that they have to focus on again. It won't be something that they'll just be able to look past. And that's always, again, it's the psychological side of things. The skill levels there, the ability will be there. If we can maintain the focus and get them to regroup and put the win behind them, put the celebration behind them, and focus on what's next, because we're still going to play Howland a second time. We still have to play Canfield a second time, and we haven't played Fitch either time yet. So I mean, the conference is still there's a lot of obstacles still out there in front of us in the second half of our schedule. So it's good that we still have things to focus on, and it's good that we have the time to get the team to regroup, and we're looking forward to see what happens next.
Coach, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day and your work day, of course, to come on and talk with us about this big win. Couldn't congratulate you more on it, and good luck the rest of the season. I'm sure we'll have you on again at some point before the end of the year.
Okay, no problem. Thanks. Have a good day, guys.